All right, deep divers, are you ready for today's deep dive?
I'm ready.
Because we are taking a trip to Dramaland.
Ooh, Dramaland.
I am so excited. I
Eh.
love talking about dramas, and we're going to be talking about K-dramas today.
Excellent.
And this might be a new one for some of our listeners, but trust me, you don't have to know anything about K-dramas to enjoy this deep dive.
That's right.
There is so much to unpack here, so much to think about, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes, we are.
So we are diving into a recap blog called World Wonders Drama.
Okay.
And we are dissecting the first 2 episodes of a show called Love Next Door.
Okay, I've heard of this one.
Yes, it's super popular right now. So it is a classic childhood friends to lovers setup.
Okay.
And it takes place in their hometown. So think small town vibes, heartwarming moments, a sprinkle of humor,
Cute.
and of course a dash of romantic tension.
Of course, gotta have the romantic tension.
Of course, you know, I love that slow burn.
Yes, me too.
The anticipation.
The best.
So this drama opens with a scene, and I have to tell you, I was chuckling when I read this in the recap blog.
Okay.
It opens with a group of ajumas on a hike.
Okay, so for our listeners who aren't familiar with the term,
Yes.
ajuma basically means like middle-aged Korean women.
Yes, and they are a force to be reckoned with, let me tell you.
Oh, absolutely.
The recap blog described them as like a Greek chorus, but with more sass,
Okay, I like it.
right? They are gossiping. They are comparing their children's achievements.
Oh, yeah.
The whole works that recaps even called it a full-on brag war between the moms.
Oh, my gosh.
I know, and it is so interesting because this scene, it's like a small little scene at the beginning, but it really, I think, reveals so much about Korean culture.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So the Ajuma figure, right?
Yes.
They're iconic. They're often portrayed as very strong-willed, a little bit gossipy.
They're very much a presence
Oh, yeah.
in a lot of these dramas. And I think it speaks to
Yes.
this emphasis on family in Korean culture and societal expectations. And we see that a lot in K-dramas.
Absolutely, and it definitely sets the stage. And speaking of strong-willed,
Okay.
let's talk about our heroine,
Yeah.
Hyuk-ryu.
All right.
She has just arrived back in town, but she's hiding from her family.
Oh, no, what's going on?
I know, right?
Like she's hiding.
So picture this.
Oh.
She's perched on her suitcase.
Okay.
She's wearing these like clunky heels, like she's not dressed for like sneaking around.
Right.
And the recap describes her as a wild child with a hidden backstory.
Wild child. Okay, so that seems to be like a theme in
Yeah.
a lot of these dramas.
It does, it does.
There's always that character that's returning home
Yes.
after some sort of like rebellion or hardship.
Yeah, and then they always have that like mysterious past
Exactly.
that we're dying to know more about
Yes.
and maybe find love in the process.
Oh, yes.
Okay, romance. So, so cue the romantic music because she bumps into her childhood friend, Sang-hyo.
Go. Yeah.
Apparently balloons were dropped. Time stopped.
Wow.
The whole shebang.
Universe.
Our blogger called it a classic re-meet cute.
Ah.
You know that moment where the universe is like, these two need to be together?
I love that.
I love it too. It's so good. And of course, no K-drama is complete without that good romantic tension.
Absolutely.
And the source highlights that they have contrasting personalities.
Okay.
So he's a successful architect.
Mm-hmm.
She is described as a haphazard mess.
Okay. Which, let's be honest, that makes for good TV.
It makes for good TV when you have that like order versus chaos dynamic.
Right. Exactly.
So the blogger points out that Sung-hyo just seems to have it all together.
Oh.
He's passionate about his work. He has meaningful conversations with funeral directors.
Okay.
Like what?
That's interesting.
I know, right?
Very specific.
And then there's Suk-ryu,
Okay.
who is, well, let's just say she's a little more spontaneous.
A little more free-flowing.
Yes. And, you know, I love that they have that shared history, though,
Yes.
because it adds like a whole other layer.
Definitely, because they understand each other
Yes.
in a way that other people wouldn't
Exactly.
because they grew up together.
Yes. And you can tell in their interactions that they have this like shorthand
Exactly.
and they just get each other.
Yeah.
So things get really interesting at a chaotic family dinner. Of course, where else would it happen?
Right.
And we find out that Seokri has been lying
Lying about what?
about why she's back home.
Oh, no.
I know.
Family secrets.
I know. And K-dramas, they just nail those scenes of like simmering family tension.
Oh, they do. They do. It's like
And this one did not disappoint.
a pressure cooker.
It really is.
All the emotions are just like building up.
And you can just feel it.
Yes.
You can feel it through the screen. And boy, are there family dynamics at play here.
I bet.
Seokri's mom is intense,
Mm.
to say the least. But to be fair, the blogger does say that it seems like the show's going to give a more nuanced portrayal of like the overbearing mother,
Okay, good.
which I appreciate.
I do too, because I think...
Because it's so easy to just make it like the stereotypical tiger mom.
Exactly.
But I think...
There's always more to it.
Yes. And haven't we all felt the weight of parental expectations?
Oh, absolutely.
At some point in our lives?
It's a universal theme.
It really is.
Regardless of your cultural background.
It's so true.
Everyone's experienced that.
So it'll be interesting to see how they explore both sides of that coin. Absolutely. Now, despite all the family drama, there are definitely sparks flying between Seok Ryu and Sung Hyo.
Okay, good. I need a little bit of romance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too. Me too. So the recap highlights 2 scenes, specifically one in the rain and another at their bedroom windows.
Ooh, those are always good.
Right.
Windows and rain.
Lots of longing glances.
Yeah, perfect.
And it's all about what's not being said.
Ooh, the unspoken words.
Exactly.
The best.
The best.
There's so much that can be said in silence.
It's true. It's like you can practically feel that electricity in those quiet moments.
You know that old saying, actions speak louder than words?
Yes.
I think that applies
Yes,
here.
100%.
Like, it's those little gestures, those glances, those moments where they're not actually speaking to each other that really reveal how they feel.
Absolutely. And speaking of unspoken feelings,
Yes.
the recap points out how Sung Hyo redecorates Sikri's childhood bedroom.
Oh, how sweet.
I know, right? Like, come on, that just screams he cares.
Right. It's like he remembers her. He remembers their past.
Right.
He wants her to feel comfortable.
Yes, exactly.
He's putting in the effort.
So I have to know what actually went down with Seok Ryu and her almost wedding.
Okay, so it turns out,
Because they hinted at it in the recap,
yes, they did.
and I need to know.
Okay, so she's dealing with some setbacks.
Okay.
So she's putting on this brave face, right?
Like, I'm fine, everything's fine.
Exactly. But really, she got let go from her job.
Oh, no.
And her fiancé publicly humiliated her.
What?
Yes, at what the recap calls a trashy American pool party.
Oh, no. Only in Dramaland
Right.
could something like that happen.
But it's like, instead of admitting all that,
Okay.
she spins this web of lies, and she's like, no, I was the one who cheated, and I quit my job because I was bored.
Which, knowing her personality,
Exactly.
is totally believable.
It really is, and it just speaks to how well they know her, but also the pressure she feels
Yeah.
to live up to her family's expectations.
It's like she'd rather be the villain
Yes.
than admit that she's hurting.
Exactly, because if she admits that she's hurting, then they were right,
Right.
you know, and she can't have that.
So it's kind of like a pride before the fall situation.
In a way, yes, but I also think it's deeper than that.
Okay.
I think she's afraid of disappointing them,
that makes sense.
you know?
Especially with that mom.
Right.
I mean,
Like, those expectations are very real.
they are very real. I'm glad to hear, though, that the mom isn't going to just be like a one-dimensional tiger mom, though.
No.
Because our source did mention
Yes.
that we see a little bit of her vulnerability, too.
Yeah, in one scene, we see that she feels this pressure from her friends, her social circle, to have this, like, successful daughter.
Which is so common.
It's so common, and it just shows you,
Like across cultures.
yes, like these dramas, they might seem like they're light and fluffy,
Right.
but they often touch upon,
Deeper issues.
yes,
Societal dynamics that are very real.
and this idea
That-
of, you know, generational pressure and expectations.
Yes, exactly.
It's really interesting.
It is fascinating. But let's get back to the good stuff for a minute.
Okay.
The romance.
Yes.
So the blogger was raving about the chemistry between these two.
Okay, good.
Raving.
I like it.
They were like, get you a couple that can do both the quiet longing and the playful banter.
Oh, the duality.
Yes. And they even use the acronym OTP.
OTP, one true pairing.
Yes, which I will admit I had to look up,
It's a classic.
but I love it. So they're saying Seok Ryu and Sung Hyo have that OTP potential.
Yeah, the bloggers seem to think so.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
They were really impressed by the way that the actors portrayed, like, both the comfort in that relationship,
Right.
but then also, like, the underlying tension.
Because they've known each other for so long.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
it's like that push and pull between familiarity and then also, like, the thrill of rediscovering someone.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Okay, so where do we leave off at the end of episode 2?
Okay, so the blogger ends on a note of cautious optimism.
Okay.
You know, they acknowledge that, like, the show does rely on some familiar tropes.
Right, like childhood friends, contrasting personalities.
Exactly.
The family drama.
Right. But it seems like they're hopeful that it'll carve its own path,
Okay.
you know?
So it's like, will Love Next Door just check off a list of predictable plot points?
Right.
Or will it, like, Give us something real, something we can really connect to.
And isn't that what we're all looking for?
It is.
Like at the end of the day,
Yes.
we want to watch something
Yes.
that feels real, even if it's totally dramatic and unrealistic.
Exactly.
And the blogger even poses this question
Okay.
at the end, and it's like almost like a challenge to the show itself.
Ooh, I love it.
They say that the success of this kind of story really hinges on the compellingness of the OTP.
So it all comes back to Seok-ri and Sung-hyo.
It does.
Do they have that je ne sais quoi?
Right.
That special, something to keep us hooked for a whole season.
Right, because we've all seen couples on TV where it's like,
Yes.
yeah,
This is like, okay.
like they're fine, but do we really care if they end up together?
Exactly.
Like, is there that spark?
Yes.
And so that's kind of what the blogger is asking.
Okay. I love that.
Is if this couple has that.
So it's like the million-dollar question for any romance.
It really is.
It's like, what makes us root for them?
Yes, what makes us care?
What makes us want them to be together?
Exactly, and sometimes you can't even put your finger on it. It's just there or it's not.
You feel it or you don't.
Exactly.
So I guess we'll just have to keep watching to find out.
Exactly, and I think that's the beauty of it all, isn't it?
It is.
The not knowing.
The anticipation.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more.
And maybe that's why we love dramas so much.
Yeah.
Because it's like we get invested in these characters and their relationships.
And we want to believe.
Yes.
Don't we?
We do.
Like, we want to believe in love even if it's fictional.
Especially if it's in a world where time can stop when you bump into someone.
Exactly, exactly.
Well said. I think that's a beautiful place to wrap up.
I think so, too.
Our deep dive into Love Next Door.
Yes.
This has been so much fun.
I've loved it.
I am now ready to go binge watch the rest of this show.
Me too, me too. And you know what? I'm going to be paying attention
What's that?
to that OTP,
Yes.
that chemistry.
See if they have it.
See if they have it.
I love it. Well, to all our deep divers out there, thank you so much for joining us on this journey to Dramaland.
Yes, thank you.
Remember, even in the most lighthearted shows, we can always find some really interesting insights into cultural relationships and even ourselves.
Always.
So until next time, happy watching.